everybody, Karyn Bryant with you. Welcome to...
What had happened was
That's right, I'm here with...
Angela Overkill Hill.
That's right,
ready
Angela.
for another fight week coming up again.
I know, deja vu all over again. I feel like we
Yeah.
just had it. Yeah, folks who don't know, Angela is fighting in 2 weeks. You were supposed to fight a week ago. It got moved. Oh, wait. Oh, it's that. Oh, shoot, it's this weekend.
Yeah, is this coming weekend. Yeah. So I got my jug of water. It's my delicious beverage for tonight.
That's right. Okay, right. Because I forgot. I'm working the next 2 weekends in a row, and I forgot. I thought you were on the one 2 weeks from now. But okay. So if people haven't figured out by now, Angela, and what had happened was they should have a beverage to have along with us, right?
Yeah, they definitely should. Unfortunately, I just have water. Hey, if you don't drink, like you could join me with the water. But yeah, it's definitely something. It's a nightcap kind of show. I feel like.
It is. I was going to say, yeah, I don't want to necessarily encourage people either. But like, I'm having a beverage. It's my first one of the day. It is a happy hour kind of vibe right now. It's a little after 7, but we should try to look like Howlerhead or like Proper 12 if anybody wants to sponsor the What Had Happened Was podcast.
I know, right? Just throwing it out there, like, hey, we'll get Mickey's malt liquor.
I was just gonna say MD 2020.
Yeah.
Actually, I want. What was that other one? Four Loco.
Oh no! Only the banned substances are allowed to sponsor us.
So, in
mean,
the
you
background,
got
I
your
just realized
fingers, right?
I fed the dog, and the bag of food was empty, but I put it on the ground to take it out, and now she's got her. I think I can totally picture her, like her head is in the bag, like trying to get the last scoops of that. Hey, kid! I might need the kid to come down and get the dog. All right, anyway, how's your dog, Butcher? He's like, you love him, right?
I feel like you summoned him because he was banging on the door just now.
Oh, no.
Trying to get in. I'm like, no, this is work time. But no, he's great. He's doing great. He's
good. Well, yeah, okay, so obviously we
fun.
will talk about UFC 259. I don't even know where you want to start because there was so much that happened.
Dude, there was so much. Let's start with the ladies because Amanda Nunes, man, what a monster. What an absolute, like, lady killer. She just went in there. She did what everyone thought she was going to do, only better than how they thought she was going to do it. Like, she had no problem with Megan's reach, no problem with her size, no problem, like, setting up that big 1-2 and taking her down. Like, dude, she looked amazing. I was so in awe of how good she looked last night.
It's funny because I'm a massive Amanda fan, and I feel like a lot of us are, and even I think the people who have fought her and lost to her, like they got to give it up. Be like, this woman is incredible, right? I find it hard that anybody could not like her.
Yeah,
I just do because she's also a sweet girl.
Yeah,
but I literally yelled and it was completely subconscious or whatever. She did. I went, "Oh, my queen!" I literally yelled at that. I was like, "Where?" I did. I was like, "Where did that come from?" But it was like the most natural. I was like, it's just like you said. You thought she was going to do it. You expected it. And then when she does it even better than you expect, like, what do you do
just
with
like,
that information?
Whoa, that needs to be a new catchphrase. Oh, my queen. I've never heard that before. I've never heard anyone use it in that order. I'm gonna start screaming it out.
I might have to use it more often because it was such an organic feeling, though, Angela. But and listen, obviously, when I watch any of the girls, it is different for me as a fan, and I think a lot of the female fans can relate to that, right? So now we get to live vicariously through you, whereas when we watch the guys, we get it, but I think that's why the guys like the guys, right? But watching a woman as incredibly talented as Amanda is, it just feels good.
It does. It feels nice to have a dominant champion that is just lives the martial artist life, you know? Like, she's respectful, she's dominant, she improves every time she gets out there. Like, she's just a total, like, person that you want to look up to as, like, a fighter, as a fan. Like, she's just awesome. And she seems like she has a great sense of humor, too. Like, her and Nina, like, they're always, like, cutting up and everything. She seems like a great mom. Like, she's awesome. There's nothing to dislike about her. She's great.
It's funny too. They are funny together. I don't remember before Regan was there, but do you remember like a year or two ago, Amanda would buy Nina like household appliances for gifts for like for like her birthday and anniversary. She'd be like, awesome. I got you a sewing machine, and like Nina would sit there with this like this, and Amanda's like, so you can fix my stuff, and it was so funny. Like you said, their relationship, the way they cut up with each other is really great. But I did want to ask you about that moment because I tweeted about it. I thought it was really sweet. When she had the baby after, and she was talking to Megan, and they were in the octagon and kind of having this, it was a really neat thing to me because it was like, okay, these women just went to work, and this woman just beasted and defended her title again. Mind you, that's her 12th straight victory.
Wow.
And then she's just like, and here's the baby, and how are you? And I was like,
yeah.
It's just a day off. Like, yeah.
It's amazing. It's business for her, you know? Yeah. She has this legacy that she wants to defend. She's very passionate about it, obviously, but she has no animosity towards the people she's fighting. Like, if anything, she feels like one of those fighters who go in there to defeat their former self.
Yes.
You know, like she's working against her own, like, whatever demon she has. Mm-hmm. And that's the only person that she has to defeat in there, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, she's not going in there going, oh, Megan Anderson's a bitch and I'm gonna fuck her up. You know, like like some people. Yeah. But yeah, she just goes in there and she's like, okay, this is my goal. I need to accomplish these goals and this is how I'm gonna do it. And then she does it. And every time she fights, she gets better. And that's what she said in her post-fight speech, is that she's just improving. Mm-hmm. She's getting better every time. She wants to retire with both belts, and I mean, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think she's going to be able to do that pretty successfully. Like, we're going to have to see someone really just emerge from nowhere and just impress everyone to even think that somebody else is going to have a chance against her at like 45 or 35. And I think there's more competition at 35. Like, obviously there's more bodies. There's a little deeper talent pool. But there's still no one that's really standing out as someone who can definitely give her a run for her money. So, yeah, man, I don't know who's going to be next. Like Shevchenko, maybe Durandamy, like one of those women who like gave her a little bit of trouble, but like I mean, honestly, she's getting so much better every time she gets out there, and I think a lot of improvements happen within fight camp, and you know, I don't even think we've seen half of what she's improved on. So because
which is so cool. And you know, it's funny. You brought up a couple things I wanted to touch on, but like. One thing that you mentioned Jermaine Durandamy. I remember talking to her over this summer on Fight Island. I really like her. You know, I've known her since back in Strikeforce. I would joke with her, like, I would have Jermaine's legs, and I'm like, those are the legs I want. Like, cause like, they're like a mile long, and you know, she's just like so fit and from all that kickboxing and stuff like that. So I'd be like, I want Jermaine Durandamy's legs. I still don't have them, but I'm getting closer thanks to my jump rope. But I'm not there yet. Yeah. But one thing Jermaine did say was, that Amanda didn't want to strike with her, and that's why she took her down. And if you remember that fight, you know, there was a lot of grappling in that fight, and we don't really see that from Amanda as often now because she is such a powerful striker, and most women she can handle. I too would like to see her again with Jermaine. I think that would be entertaining.
Yeah, or you know, I think Kat got released kind of prematurely. Yeah, I don't think that was I guess a smart decision, seeing as how Kat could fight at 145, 35, and they need people in 145 weight class. Like, it sounds like they're only bringing in people to eventually fight Nunes, and for Nunes to slaughter like a sacrificial lamb, and then, you know, she gets to dance around with her baby in the octagon and all of her belts, you know. So it seems like that's what the 45 division is right now. But like Kat Zingano, she's fighting at 45. She's fighting at 35. You know, she's definitely someone who, if she does well in Bellator, they can bring back and have her fight the champ as well. So there's options out there, but I think the champ is gonna be taking a little bit of a break because somebody has to like come out and make a statement for them to even consider booking that fight.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I know a lot of people are, you know, saying that there's not enough depth in that division, and it is hard, and also partly it's like, you don't want to just go over and completely pillage Invicta or completely you also you want to have a league where women can develop and grow as well too. So it is tricky. I agree with you that it's going to be very hard to find somebody that can take Amanda. It's like the day that Amanda loses is going to be because Amanda wasn't there that day. You know what I mean? Either mentally or physically, something. But in terms of the Valentina fight, it's funny to me because while I enjoyed the fights and they were really close, and I know a lot of people thought Valentina won, especially the second time, but I don't know. Like, I love having them both so dominant where they are. Like, I know we get super fight happy and we had Israel and Jan and we'll talk about that too and whatever, but I don't actually have to see that fight to be satisfied. Like, I'm okay with seeing both of them kick major butt in their respective divisions and be equivalently badass, because I do think that they are. And so I may be in the minority here, but I don't necessarily need to see those two fight again. But if they did, I'd watch.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know. I think they need a tiebreaker because even though like Nunes won both times, I feel like Valentina gets a little extra credit because she is the smaller fighter.
Right.
And the second fight was so close.
It was.
So I think if they're both dominating like another year, we have to let the fight get old, right? Like we have to let their last. Oh, look at
Harmony wanted to come up and be on the show.
Look at the puppy. Hello. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, here comes Butcher. But yeah, no, obviously it's the puppy show. It's a big deal for her to have come up. And maybe that's part of why I don't necessarily feel like I need to see it now, because like I'm picturing Amanda as so big and I'm picturing Valentina as so much smaller now because the 45 Amanda is in my head.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like 35 might be hard for Amanda the more she fights at 45. So we might never see it happen just because like it's not going to be a healthy situation. But yeah, I think if they both dominate, then and the fight gets kind of old, like that last fight is like maybe a few years down the road, then it would be cool to see again. But I don't know. I think somebody might emerge before that happens, but just looking right now, there aren't really any contenders that stand out.
No, it's really tough. And what's interesting too is for the longest time, we all equated Chris Cyborg with the GOAT. And, Chris is amazing and Chris did so many incredible things, but literally as I was going through, just looking at some stuff on Amanda, and when you look at her record, when you look at the names of the women that she has beaten, it's absolutely insane. It's like every great fighter you thought, like that woman's really good. Mandy beat her. You know what I mean? And I feel like for Chris, some of the competition that Chris faced wasn't as good as what Amanda faced. So I think Amanda is definitely the GOAT.
Well, that's what happens, right? The further we go through this like MMA journey, especially as like the women's weight classes are evolving, then you're gonna see like someone like Ronda Rousey is the GOAT, and then you have someone like Cyborg, and then you have someone like Amanda Nunes, and it keeps going down the road. The person who beats Amanda is going to be insane. Like, they're going to be insane. Like, I don't even want to see it, unless it's like some weird fluke or something, but I feel like the person who beats Amanda, if she doesn't retire first, is just going to be a million times better, like a totally like complete athlete, just the next generation of MMA fighters. And you see that changing of the guard happening with the men's divisions all the time, but now we're finally seeing it, like we're catching up, like women's MMA is catching up. So now you're finally seeing it in the women's divisions as well. Like you're seeing unranked girls in my weight class and the smaller weight classes, like come out and knock people out who were like considered like a big deal. So it's definitely becoming, we're becoming more respected, and I feel like we're rising to the occasion, like there's more talent out there now because you see that there's something to work towards, whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was really no women's MMA. Like it was kind of underground. Like everyone who had a record back then was fighting at 45, 65, 105,
anything.
They were like fighting whoever they could and making like chump change doing it, and they were just doing it because they love it. So now the people with talent are seeing that there's options and they're sticking with it. They're not quitting because it's like, I'm not going to make any money doing this and I'm getting beat up and it sucks. Like they're seeing, okay, if I keep training, if I keep getting better, then I could be like Amanda Nunes. I could be like Ronda Rousey, Cyborg, you know? So it's definitely exciting times right now.
It is exciting. And it's so true because obviously, I've been covering combat sports for a long time, since 2006 or so.
Wow.
But yeah, so like for example, when the girls got to the UFC with all of that, right? So like people like Shayna Baszler, Julie Kedzie, right? Some of these girls who had been around a long time, they kind of got here, and like right when the UFC was starting to take these girls, they were already kind of at the end of their career, and I feel bad for some of those girls, right? Because it's like what you're talking about, the changing of the guard. And some of them were the ones who put in so much legwork and so much grunt work and fought in ballrooms and fought in parking lots and did all the grunt work and maybe made $200, or maybe they had to pay $200 to fight, you know, and like, then it finally made it to the UFC. And some of these girls, I just felt so bad because they're the ones who made it happen. And they you know, when it got to the UFC, they were just a little too old to succeed or really shine there. And the next other people took over. So I agree with you on that. So it is exciting to me to think that somewhere there's a girl training in her garage right now looking at videos of Amanda and like, you know what I mean? It's like, I literally just got goosebumps now. Like that to me is really exciting. And if I'm going to finish my sort of thought on the Valentina versus Amanda thing, like I'm actually more excited about the idea of like a Zhang Wei Li, or I'm more excited about a strawweight champ meeting a flyweight champ than I am about the flyweight meeting the bantam. Like, I think to me, because it does seem a little more fair with the size thing, because Valentina is not that big. And the fact that she is such a badass and can like, she could beat a girl that's like, she could beat Gabby. I know this. So I don't doubt Valentina. It's just that I kind of feel like that could be really exciting to see a challenge between the two lighter weight classes.
Right. Well, we're kind of having that coming up, right? With Andrade, so that's going to be exciting.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. That was actually one of our fan questions, so I just want to shout them out real quick.
Okay, cool.
Because, you know, people are
about
like,
the trilogy fight, right, yeah.
Yeah, people are like, do you even answer fan questions? But let me just shout them out real quick. Give me one
because I think I remember seeing that one too. And listen, like I said, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it. I just... I may be the one person that doesn't have to see it right now.
Yeah. Okay, so it was Nance_BK. Thank you, Nance BK, asking, do you ladies think it might be time for Nunes versus Shevchenko 3, considering how close part 2 is? So we answered that. Thank you, Nance. I'm pretty sure you subliminally put that in our heads and we had to talk about it. So thanks for the question. Great question.
But here's my question to you about that though, Angela, is... We both think, I think, right? Valentina is the GOAT for the 25ers. Amanda's the GOAT for the 35ers and 45ers. Kind of like what we saw with Israel and Jan, where I don't think Israel lost any of his shine. We have to talk about the cocoa butter. Did you see my tweet about the cocoa butter?
No, I did not.
I tweeted you about how much cocoa butter does Israel use. Okay, anyway, but I digress.
I gotta look at the
but I'm wondering
now.
Is when you do these super fights, and when a champion loses a super fight, does it take a little bit of shine off them? And I guess that's partly what it is for me too, is that I feel slightly and overly protective, not even slightly, overly protective of Valentina and Amanda, as like, since they are our women GOATs, like I freaking want them to get the damn respect on their name that they deserve. And like, I don't want either of them to cancel the other one out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I think those are the only skids, right, on Valentina's record recently are the ones against Nunes. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. I think the problem with Shevchenko is she's a gamer. Like, she's probably the one pushing for it.
I'm sure.
She's the one saying, I want another shot. I know I can beat her. I'm going to get her this time.
I love that girl so much.
All I got to do. So, I mean, you can't hate her for wanting to just right that one wrong in her recent history. She just has to right that one wrong. Like, I think it's a great fight to think about down the road.
Yes.
Like if Amanda keeps busting people up, we have 35ers coming up that are fighting each other who like a title contender will emerge. I'm not sure who, but I remember looking at it recently and I was like, oh, okay, maybe whoever wins that fight will fight the title. So there's people coming up at 35. I feel like just 45 is desolate right now for contenders. Like she pretty much cleared the entire division out.
And would 45. You want to go to 45 if you could? If you're like, I tell you what, I'm gonna fight at 45, and then I'm gonna nope. I'm gonna lose some weight is what I'm gonna do. Like, why would you go to 45 and look at a man? Like, why would you go there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, nah, I'll wait until you retire, and then I'll eat those cookies. Then I'll think about it.
Right. Although I will say this, the other person that I do think, listen, a lot of people give Holly Holm grief, and they're like, she had too many chances and blah, 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 blah. But I was on Fight Island. I was sitting octagon side. She put on a clinic against Aldana, who is very good. Mm-hmm. So when I sat there and I watched Holly, I was like, holy crap. Like, this is a different beast right now.
Yeah.
So I do actually think that I personally would like to see Holly versus Amanda again. I'm not sure which weight class, and I don't know if Holly really likes fighting at 40. I know when she boxed, she fought at different weights too. Mm-hmm. But I am saying this, that yes, the Holly that showed up on Fight Island this summer looked freaking awesome.
Right.
And I would like to see that Holly versus Amanda, or I would like to see, Jermaine versus Amanda.
And when they fought, was it 45 or 30? It was 45, right? When Holly fought Nunes?
Yeah, I think so, right? Because Holly and Jermaine fought for the vacant belt at 45, but then, right?
No, I thought Nunes beat Cyborg for the belt.
You're right. Holly and GDR fought for the vacant 35.
Oh.
Right?
No, they fought for 45.
It was that's what I'm saying. It was vacant, and GDR landed that shot after the bell, and everybody thought it was egregious. Right. It was at Barclays Center in New York.
Yeah, you know what confused me is Jermaine got rid of the belt, or what do you call it?
Right, because Jermaine didn't defend at 45, right? And then she went down to 35.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. I remember now. I remember.
Yes,
I remember the whole drama.
Well, let's just, to wrap up the Amanda conversation, it's just that she's so amazing. You got to dig so deep to find people for her, but I find it so satisfying to watch her. Oh, my queen! Like, it literally just came out, and I was like, and I'm laughing because I'm watching it alone. Like, it wasn't even like I had a room full of people, and I'm like high-fiving because
yeah.
And then somebody says to me on Twitter, they go, aren't you supposed to be objective? And I didn't respond, but I wanted to say, like, mother crapper, did you hear them calling this fight? Like, did you hear Joe Rogan talking about how it made, like, so I'm like, well, I'm sure you're tweeting this to Joe and John in DC as well, right?
No, they aren't. Well, there's always someone who wants you to act like a robot, right. Like some people want you to, like, just read the news as opposed to, like, emote, or be impressed. And it's like, why would I be as impressed with Megan Anderson's fight? Is not to say that she's a bad fighter or anything, but why would I be equally impressed with her fight history as I am with Amanda Nunes's? Looking at the people that she's beaten versus looking at the people that Megan's beaten. So to put them up against each other is already like, oh man, I feel like this is a bad idea. If Megan had beaten her, you would have said the same. Oh, my queen. You would have said the same thing.
Right.
You would have freaked out. You would have been ripping your curls out. I can't believe this happened. But what we expected to happen happened, and it was beautiful. So it's like, you gotta give respect where respect is due.
It really was, and I think that's what it is that I just appreciate greatness, right? Like, I just appreciate greatness. That's really what it comes down to. In whatever shape or form I see it, it was just, how could you not? Like, that's just amazing. Like,
if you can't enjoy that, then you just shouldn't be watching MMA. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, is those moments where you're just like...
Right. Okay, so with that said, and as I am wearing my Jamaica shirt, so Aljo is the champion now. But here's the thing. You know that nobody wants to win a title by disqualification. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how much you maybe didn't like your opponent. Nobody wants to win by disqualification. Mm-hmm. You are the fighter, Angie, so I will ask you this. What do you make of the fact that some people think he was faking?
Oh no. All right. Wait, I have a question from a fan.
Okay.
I'm like on top of it today. I'm
Good.
like, okay,
Yeah, you are.
I
Look
want
at
to
who's
shout
all
out the
prepared.
fans, our millions of fans. So our Rafaelion asks thoughts on the Yan Aldo controversy, and he asked another question: did Izzy fight a bad fight, or was Yan's game plan better? So we'll answer that later.
Yeah.
But thoughts on the controversy? No, you never want to win a fight like that. And when I was watching it, I'm like, you know what? Like, if you look on the bright side, he was losing the fight. He gets the belt. He gets the win bonus. Like, all those things are good things, but they come, it's like blood money, you know? They come with such a huge burden and such a feeling of like not earning it,
right,
that it doesn't, you can't enjoy it. Like, you can't enjoy the money, you can't enjoy like the belt. Like, nobody believes that you're a champion right now, you know, even though you have the belt. It's like getting a participation prize. And it just really sucks that that's the way that he got the belt. And every question for Aljo coming up to the next fight is, how do you feel about winning the belt that way? You know, like, this is like, he can't enjoy it, and there's no joy in that. So I do feel really bad for him, because I mean, at least on the bright side, on the actual bright side, not like the monetary or whatever bright side, but on the actual bright side is that he's going to be able to get an immediate rematch. Aljamain Sterling looks amazing every time he fights, like twice as good as he did the last time. So he's going to be able to get that rematch that he might not have gotten if the fight was going the way it seemed, and Jan was able to just kind of outclass him for the next 2 rounds. So he gets the immediate rematch. He gets a chance to make those adjustments. The first like 4 minutes of the first round, I thought Aljo was gonna knock him out. Like, I was so impressed. I was so impressed by Aljamain Sterling's like pressure and the way he was using those push kicks. I was like, man, he's like tiring Jan out. Like, he might be able to like gas him, maybe get to his back in the second round, but then he got dropped. So I feel like he had a solid game plan, but just one little like inch, one little like movement that he didn't pull the trigger fast enough, and Jan was able to capitalize, and that's when the fight started going sour for Aljo. So I really feel like he had a great game plan, and it's a great opportunity for him to be able to go back and fix things and maybe come out, have a fight that's a lot more competitive than this one was. But it was a close fight. It was like really competitive, really action packed. But I think everyone kind of agrees that Jan was about to win that fight.
Yeah, and that's, I think, where the critiques of Aljo come in, where they say, you know, that he knows he was losing, and so he's seeing this opportunity now as a way to take it. So there's a few things to unpack, right? So first and foremost, it doesn't freaking matter what Aljo was doing, because it was an illegal knee, and you're disqualified.
Exactly.
End of story. Like, so Aljo could have been out there reciting lines from God, you know, the Godfather, to get his Oscar. I don't give a crap. Yeah. It was an illegal knee. Fight's over. So the weird thing to me was kind of how they were going on, and like, are you okay? And of course I wanted to make sure that he was okay and everything, but like, and they're kind of going on about whether the fight will continue, and it's like, well no, it's like, not going to continue. Like, we're done here. Yeah. And the more they showed the replay, the more I thought it was really bad. Like, at first, you know, any knee on the ground is bad. But when they showed it and the way he's kind of holding his head and all of that, and I was like, damn, that's really bad. Yeah. So I didn't like that people were saying Aljo was faking. And yes, maybe they think they were saying he's faking because he was losing and he knows he was losing the fight or whatever. But I hope they do run it back. You saw the way Aljo took the belt off. He was disgusted with that. And that's the thing that made me so sad about it, right? You saw him crying in there. And like I said, I'm wearing the Jamaica shirt. For people who don't know, my mom is Jamaican. She was actually Miss Jamaica in a beauty contest, but whatever. And people will be like, "Yo, you favor your father," but
they're haters.
But my point is, so yeah, I'm thrilled that there's a Jamaican guy as a champion, but Jamaicans don't like they work hard, right? They have
you
a
guys
mentality.
have like
I was joking with somebody on Twitter about this. that old In Living Color sketch were like, what do you only have 4 job? You know, and they were like, this guy's like a chump because he's not working hard. You remember that, right? So like it's work ethic, it's putting in the work, it's earning stuff, it's pride, and there's so much of that, which is what I really feel. I feel that for what I do for my living. So I know what he feels. Mm-hmm. And I know that, like, yeah, you don't want to win like that. Like, you wanted to win with a knockout or a sub or a 5-round war or something where you felt like you earned it. And yes, he's put all the miles in and all the time in, and he's earned the opportunity and he earned the title shot. But like you said, there's going to be an asterisk. There's going to be a this. Well, maybe you didn't really win. Like, you don't want that BS. You just wanted it clean, and it sucks that the thing that he wants so bad came with such a weird caveat, and it's just crappy.
It's like one of those scary movies where you can make a wish, like Monkey Paw. Like you made a wish on a monkey paw, and they're like, "Oh, you want to be champion? Okay."
Right.
You're like, "No, monkey paw, not like this,
not mine."
Not
right?
Like this, yeah. So yeah, I felt horrible for him when that happened, especially because like when I saw how messed up he was, and nobody's gonna fake that. Like if you can get up, like he's like in the fight, like maybe if he had a second to realize what was going on, but in the fight, a fighter, like there's some fake lame fighters out there who would do that.
Right.
But a fighter like Aljo, he's trying like with all his might to stand up on his 2 feet and show the ref that he's good. And like maybe after he thinks back to it, he feels like he could have stood up or feels like he could have like kept going, but it's like you could see it. Like he wasn't good. And I've seen people that I care about get like knocked out on their feet. Yeah. And I'm like, why'd they stop the fight? But then they're like, oh yeah, I don't remember how many rounds were there? Like,
right.
What happened? When I get hit with
what happened?
Like, you know, like what happened?
What happened? Did I win? My favorite is when they wake up and they're looking at Herb and they're like, did I win?
Yeah, exactly. Oh wait, did I choke him out?
No, baby. No.
Sorry. But yeah, like the way that the knee landed, like you see that in movies where someone like hits someone like that and they're messed up on the ground. Like they'll usually be knocked out for like 3 hours in a movie somehow. Yeah. But like you see when people get hit like that, they're really messed up, and it sucks that people start debating like, oh well, maybe he shouldn't have stayed on his knee that long. But those are the rules. You know, we agreed to a certain rule set, and you have to follow them. And if you expect someone not to cheat, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, you're figuring out what your next move is, and you haven't like gotten into a dangerous position yet, you're gonna be super surprised when that knee comes and hits you in the face. Totally. Like it came out of nowhere. So when it happened, like I also felt really bad for Jan too, for Petr too, because like I saw Aljo's head lift up, and I could feel that he assumed him raising his upper body meant that he was about to stand. And I feel like he was just trying to catch him right when it was legal. Yeah. And he fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He fucked up. He did not time it right. He did not time it when it was legal. He was very illegal when he hit Aljo. And it was just like the sound that it made too. Like it was the hardest shot of the fight. And there was no resetting after that. Like you couldn't like take 5 minutes to shake it off. Like he was messed up. So yeah, it's an unfortunate way to end the fight. I think an immediate rematch is the best option, and soon enough we'll have like an actual champion, not an actual champion, but we'll have this in the past where you know there isn't an asterisk by the Bantamweight champion belt. But until then, he's just gonna use it for fuel, keep training hard. Same with Petr. He's gonna maybe open up a rule book, go to a few seminars where the referee explains, okay, no, yes, no, yes. Answer like a questionnaire, like
no, yes.
Diagrams.
Little diagram. Yeah. I mean, and hopefully they do run it back. I mean, we know that when Davison missed weight, but he beat Joe, and there was the headbutt and everything. They just ran it back. So hopefully that will be the case with this one. Jan, and I retweeted his thing, like he put out the message, I'm so sorry and didn't mean that. And, I don't, obviously it was intentional in the moment. He meant to throw it, but I don't think Petr Yan is a bad guy. You know what I mean? Who wants to.
No.
Yeah, so it's not like that.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think, did you hear anything about the corner? Joe Rogan mentioned.
Yeah, they were saying that he looked over and asked, "Can I throw it or whatever?" And I guess, and they're all like, "Yeah, throw it." Kadirov's like, "Throw it."
Yeah, you'll just get a point taken. It's cool. And then he tried to behead the poor guy.
Hey, man. So you know what though? Speaking of the bantamweights, one of my little facts in my After the Facts video that people can tune into for all the Fight Night bonuses. But Dominick Cruz, I know we're going to talk Jan and Izzy still too, but since we're talking bantamweights, Dom was the first champ because coming over from WEC. So there's only been 7 champions now. Aljo's the 7th champion. Because I have it right here. There was Dom, there was Renan Barão, there was TJ, there was Cejudo, and who am I forgetting? There was another champ. One other champ, right?
Barão, right? Or no? TJ.
Wait. Oh, okay. So it was, there was Dom, Barão, TJ, Cody. I forgot Cody. Sorry, Cody. And I can't wait for Cody's knockout of a Sunsal was dope. Boom. Boom. Yeah. And he's like, peace out. Cody's awesome. But yes. But Dom looked great, and I know, and your video with your footwork and your little bonnet, I love it. But I didn't have a black wig. You were doing your best, Dominic. But Dom won that fight, and I thought he looked good.
He looked amazing, dude. I was freaking out when he was throwing head kicks. I'm like, what? Dom's throwing head kicks? Okay. And a lot of the stuff that he was working in the gym, he had a southpaw guy who was really, really good, just come in and work kickboxing with him. And a lot of the defensive things that he was working and just re-attacks, they were coming out in the fight. And it's just really awesome to be able to see that, like I really felt privileged as a teammate to be able to see him work on something that didn't necessarily feel comfortable at first and just pull it off perfectly in a fight. So that was really cool to watch. And, Casey Kenny, he's a tough little bastard, man. He's like grimy. He worked on his cardio. He knew he was going to need wrestling cardio for this fight. And he was doing really good until like the middle of the second round. That's when he started to fade. Yeah. And that's when I knew, okay, Dom has him because he has that crazy reset ability where he can just and then just get right back in there and just push that extra little bit that the other person isn't willing to do. So yeah, that was awesome to watch. Real good confidence boost for me going into my fight, and just like awesome to see Dom back in the winning column, back showing people who the fuck he is, first bantamweight champ in the UFC. He knows what he's talking about. He has the fight IQ, and he has the ability to pull off everything that he knows he can. So that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, for folks who, if this is the first time they're listening to this show, they maybe don't know that you train at Dom's gym and you've been a teammate of his for years, and I work with Dominic. I worked with him over at Fox, and I work with him, obviously, we work together as part of the UFC broadcast team. So love that guy. And, again, and I really like Casey, actually. And I met him over this summer on Fight Island, and he's a good kid, and he's a nice kid, and he's talented as hell.
Did you meet him at 5 a.m.?
No. Yeah, right. But I was saying, so to see Dominic, come back and with all of the things that he's been through and all of the injuries and all of this, that's the thing about Dominic. Some people find him, his personality is a little prickly. Some people just really don't get him.
A little.
Yeah, and even those of us who love him are he's prickly. But I love the dude, right? And so to me, again, it was just sort of just so happy to see somebody coming back after all the struggles that he's been through and looks so good. And it is you got these young guns. We're talking about the changing of the guard, these young guns. And it's no, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah,
Dom's so
sometimes
Dom.
you gotta spank them, like Jan did, like
Right,
Blachowicz did. Like sometimes you gotta spank them, show them what's up.
right.
Same with someone asked if I'll have to look up. I'll
Yeah,
give you
yeah.
credit, but someone asked about if Izzy losing was actually good for the light heavyweight division, and do we get to see Glover versus Blachowicz
Right.
next? And I think that would be an amazing fight. I think that's definitely the fight to do next. Like Lovers just keeps on getting upsets. Same with Blachowicz. So like no, it's just gonna be 50-50. Like no one's gonna
Yeah.
no one there won't be a favorite because we know like both of these guys get the upset over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great fight to make.
It is a great fight, and Glover weighed in as a backup for this fight.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
yeah. So we know he didn't fight. We didn't need him last night. But yes, I agree. I think Glover should be next. And Glover, I'll tell you what though. I know they already had the nicest mother effer, going to Wonder Boy. But like, if you put Glover and Jan together for a title fight, that's also the nicest mother effer title. Those
Mhm.
are two of the greatest guys. And it's funny because on Fight Island with Jan, like I actually did pick him to beat Reyes. I thought he was going to win, and I got this
Yeah.
great picture with Jan, like right after he won the title, and he's so happy and so he's so nice. It's like
Yeah.
you just can't, and he just had a baby. Like there's everything about him is
Yeah.
just so, and like you were saying before, like he started out with a losing record. I mean, this is a guy who just was able to turn it around and stay with it. There's so much positive stuff about him, but with me for Israel, it doesn't take any shine off Israel for me. Like, look at big risk. Without a risk, you don't get the reward, right? So to me,
Exactly.
he took a risk. Although I would have liked to see him stay at 85 a little longer and beat some more people up or have these challenges because there's so much talent there and he's already done a lot there. But I'm okay with him moving up to challenge himself. But at the same time, I don't think it takes anything off. Like a lot of people argue that Izzy won the first 3 rounds even, right? We know that later in the fight, Jan did take over, but they were very competitive rounds for the first 3. And a lot of the talk about this was going to be whether Israel was going to be too small, whether the size advantage of Jan was going to come into the factor later in the fight, and just the damage. Would Israel be able to really inflict much damage on a 205er? And there were times that I think he did land some stuff on Jan, but you could see that Jan wasn't really that threatened by it. I don't think. And yes, maybe eventually the weight of a 205er on him on the canvas, maybe that did add up too much. We saw that it did seem to take Israel out.
Yeah.
But I think it doesn't take anything away from Israel because he was so successful, very successful in the first 3 rounds. And I still think when he goes back to 85, where he is in his rightful class, he's still that amazing fighter.
Yeah, same. I don't take anything from Israel. I wasn't sure who was going to take the win. I thought Jan looked better towards the end, and I thought the 3rd round was really close. But I think I was seeing a little different from a lot of other people because I was one of those people that thought, okay, he might be up 3 rounds. It might be 2-1 for Izzy going into like the 4th and 5th. But Jan just totally dominated in the 4th and 5th. So I felt like the right person won, no matter how close I thought the fight was going into those last 2 rounds. Like I felt like the right person won. He was so dominant, way more dominant than Adesanya was on the feet.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was like a deserving win. But at the same time, it was really competitive, and we've seen fights that have gone the way that, it would have gone for Adesanya, even if it didn't look like he finished strong, even if it looked like if it went another 2 or 3 more rounds, he would have been toast. So I wouldn't have been surprised if he had gotten the belt, but obviously a lot of people would have been upset about that. So I'm happy. I'm almost happy that I'm happy that the judges were on point.
Yeah.
And nothing weird happened because you never want controversy like that. Like you don't want to have to deal with people saying you didn't deserve this, you didn't blah blah blah.
Right.
Like he went out there, he fought his ass off. He got sunned a little bit, Jan was like, "Oh, sit down," and he had to sit. So it was probably a little humbling for him, but I think in the end, he hasn't lost any stock. He's still a dominator at 185, and like who's gonna beat him at 185? Like that's what he's gonna focus on next. And I think he might start working on that ground game to get a little more slick on the back if he does get stuck, because like he was just really stuck, right?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't been pinned in that position in his MMA career to the point where he couldn't scramble to get out. So I think if he goes back, he was training at Atos a lot, really great BJJ gym. And I think if he just goes back and looks at that fight and sees like little weird things that he can do to get out from under a much bigger opponent, like that's what jiu-jitsu guys do all the time, is just figure out like how to mess up a bigger person on top of your chest and you're like, you know, then maybe he can go back up and threaten for that 205. And you know, styles make fights. So if he is dominant at 185 and he continues, and maybe Jan retires, or maybe somebody else gets the belt and it's a good matchup for him, then that's something that he can think about again. But I kind of feel the same way you do with the Shevchenko Nunes fight. I'm like, I just want to see Adesanya just beat people up and get a streak going and be like the Anderson Silva, you know? Like when Michael Jordan went to baseball. Like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, you're actually like Jordan was with baseball. Everybody knows that song. If anybody listens to Jurassic 5 will know that line. You're actually like Jordan was with baseball. But yeah, like to me, Israel, I want to see him just kicking some ass, being a style bender. And the cool thing about that is that they're actually, if I'm trying to think, at the top of the middleweight division, there's not a lot of wrestlers, right? So the cool thing is it's strikers. And so we get strikers' delights, and I know Vettori is really trying to get that rematch, and I worked that fight. I remember sitting there, and Marvin actually took Israel down in the third round, and he was the first one to take Israel to a decision. So I actually would really actually like to see that rematch in the future. But yeah, it's fun for me right now to look at the options for Israel because they're strikers, and nobody's going to put him on his back, and we get to just see two people kick some ass.
And it's like a size thing too, you know, with wrestling.
Size matters, Angela?
Yeah, it does when the person's on top of you.
Here's a little tip, folks. It matters.
Tip.
It matters.
Here's a big tip. It's definitely an issue. That the size thing.
Yeah.
So everything's going to feel like a breeze compared to those last two rounds to Adesanya. Like everyone else just being stuck underneath, trying to like work your way to a position where you can get up. Like that's all stuff that he can go back and work on, and the next person isn't going to be able to hold him down. Like I was surprised that he was able to hold him down just because of how successful his takedown defense has been, how scrambly Adesanya has been in the past with like other wrestlers like Brunson, like Vettori. Like he's been able to get back up to his feet and go back to work. Yeah. So I think this was a good experience for him because there was no there really weren't any like high risks for him. It wasn't like the only thing that could happen is he get messed up, you know. But when it comes to like legacy, he still has his belt. He still has his streak at 185, and like it's a learning experience. He has something that he could work on where he put himself at a disadvantage, and he saw, okay, where are my holes here, and now I can fix those so that anyone who is my size, they're not even going to have a chance to deal with me in these areas.
Well, you bring up a really good point, right? Because the phrase is always that you learn more from a loss than you do from a victory. And it's been a really long time since Israel has had a loss. And so it could actually be, yes, a real motivator for him.
This could be his domination, like craziness. I mean, he was already dominating.
I know, right? It's like the reset button or something like that. But yeah, it's very interesting. The one thing too is that, you know, then John Jones was like, well, I guess we won't have that super fight anymore and this and that. I mean, like a lot of people were kind of I saw a lot of memes about, you know, Dana right now, like angry and like, you know, that he was mad that he wasn't going to be able to get these super fights and stuff like that. You know, so I think some people were already kind of putting the cart before the horse and lining up other fights for Israel or whatever. Yeah. Meanwhile, Jan's like, yeah, I don't think so. But,
he said, nope.
Nope. Yeah. The nope stamp. Nope. Yeah. So I don't know. Did anything else like really? I'm trying to think of what else stood out for me. We already talked about Dom. if there was anything else that really stood out to you from the night, or if we have some questions here. We've got about 10 minutes more before I need to let you go, because I know, Angie's she's in camp again. It's like she's always in camp. By the way, your hair looks good, and I love that you didn't have to cut it. My hair is crazy right now. Like, it's weird. Man. It's in a weird, like, this part is growing weird. I don't know. People know. It's all real, though, for people who wonder. And so it goes through awkward stages sometimes. Yeah. But I love that you didn't have to cut those off last week.
Well, I'm thinking about cutting them now because they're a little fuzzy. So I'm like, I always get self-conscious when I have to like get sweaty and they're fuzzy and then be on camera while they're sweaty.
Yeah, it looks pretty though.
I might chop them off. Like when I first got the fight, I had just put them in like a day ago. So I'm like, maybe I'll keep them in. But now it's been like 3 weeks and I'm like, maybe I'll take them out.
Yeah.
It's not as annoying to take out now that I've been able to enjoy them for a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, it would have been frustrating to take them out right after you put them in.
Yeah. I've been able to enjoy them for a couple of weeks. So I'll let my hair out. Let my hair down.
It's just like I don't know.
Dude, yeah. It looks fine. It looks great to me. My shit's gonna be all like flat on one side, a couple like pieces of lint hanging out of the other, just because like I just fought next week. Like,
no, that does remind me because
over here,
Yeah, didn't you say at one point when you had it blonde, didn't you say like it got too dry and when you were wrestling it would break?
Yeah, so like because my hair is like I have 4C hair. Okay. If anyone knows what that is. So it's really thick and if you do anything like lighten it or like put like texturizer or anything to like loosen the curl, then when the new growth grows in, like it's really easy to break because that new growth is so thick and like strong.
Right.
So I went blonde. I dyed my whole afro blonde because I thought it would be cute. And as soon as it started growing out, like it started getting brittle, like almost like hay.
Yeah.
And then like there was one day where I was like wrestling and I probably hadn't moisturized my hair in like weeks. And I looked in the mirror after class and I was like, wait a second. I literally had, because it was all yellow, right? I literally had a little black circle in the middle. It looked like, and it's funny that I have the alien shit in my family history because it looked like a crop circle. Like, it looked like a crop circle right in the middle of my head. I was so mad at it. People were calling it a hurricane, a donut hole. Like, they were going on me. And I was just like, fuck, I got to cut my hair. So, in my fight with Andrade when I came back into the UFC, that's because I dyed my hair blonde. And then I ripped a hole out of it in wrestling class, and I had to shave my hair off. I wanted to shave my head off, but it's actually an okay look. Like my friend said that I passed the bald test. Like I didn't look crazy.
No, you didn't.
So yeah, I was happy about that. But it wasn't because I was trying to be a badass. I just got a hole ripped out of my head.
I feel bad, because I remember that because I think of that all the time. Because somebody else, I mean, we know that's why Rose had shaved her head in the first place because she was like, I'm just tired of this being in my way. Like the hair was in my way. I'm not worried about being cute. Like when I get to wrestling practice, I just want to wrestle,
Yeah, and it's so annoying when like, and this is all my training partners, so sorry girls, I'm putting you out there, but it's so annoying when you're going with your training partner and then they're like, fast goes, okay, let's go. And then they're like,
right,
doing my ponytail, like bitch, cornrow that shit, like
right.
Yeah, bring 2 hair ties next time. Quit wasting my time. I got to get my reps in.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that sentiment. Like sometimes you just want to shave it off.
Yeah. Because I know girls would talk about like, they would get so much damage anyway from just always, with sticking your head position and like so much breakage and and all this, and they were just like whatever. And then or if you get it braided and it's too tight and like your hairline's going back further and further and further.
Yeah. Or like it pulls the scalp when your hair is too tight, when it's braided too tight. So if you hit, like, if somebody punches you, then it splits even easier because it's like your hair is being pulled taut. Or Karyn, if you hit the cage, if your head hits the cage, that hurts. It hurts so bad because it's like cornrows bumping against the cage ranks and is just pulling your hair and
No.
is like rubbing against your scalp. And I feel like the cage looks a lot more comfortable than it actually is.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable. Well, and it's funny because you say that Tom Aspinall, the heavyweight, he told us the same thing, that we were joking about him looking like Frank Mir, and yeah, he lost a tuft of hair in the cage at Calbon or whatever. He's like, yeah, I was training. And he's like, and I had my hair and I was in my Frank Mir or whatever. And he's like, he was there and like a chunk, he said like a chunk of his hair got like ripped out by the cage. And he's like, yeah, no, I gotta cut this.
Yeah. It sucks. I've seen fights stopped by that because somebody
sucks.
like actually got cut just getting taken down and their head hit the cage first. It's horrible.
It sucks. Yeah. Hey, well, listen. I know we got to almost wrap it up. Did we get to all the questions? Are there any other questions, real quick, we could get to? I think we got to the main ones.
I think we got a lot of them. Oh, so I just want to thank Mr. Bresler for asking the light heavyweight division question with Jan and Izzy.
Nice.
And if Glover deserves a shot. So thank you, Mr. Bresler.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's good. I think we're good to go.
All right, cool. Well, so before we did this, I talked to Bilal Muhammad, so people can look for that interview. I'll be putting it up with Bully B. He is such a great guy. Love him. He's the main event, of course, against Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
The same card that Andy's fighting on. So I'm working that one. I'm not exactly sure who I'm working with, but I'll be heading out to Vegas this week. So yeah, look for the interview with Bully. I'll have that up on MMA Heat and on my Karyn Bryant channel, and I up and after the facts. But you can, when you're looking for the show, right? So Angie, we have it on what, Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, your IGTV, my IGTV, and your YouTube.
That's right. So there's a lot of ways to find this. So we're doing these every week. Hopefully you guys can tune in. So on Instagram, I'm at KB Heat. Karyn Bryant everywhere else, Twitter and YouTube and everything else. Where do they find you, Angela?
At Angie Overkill on Instagram and Twitter, and that's all I got.
And if folks want to know your thoughts on fighting Ashley Yoder, just look at the last show, right? Because
it's the same thoughts. I just got to do some sprints this time, so same thoughts.
Awesome. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends all about it, and remember what had happened was right. Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
wait, the H is backwards. Wait, what?
Yeah, do the H backwards.
Right.
There you go.
I'm not doing the H right.
You're doing it. That was it.
Work on it.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
Bye.